the Curiosity rover just landed right here in Gale Crater. So my thesis topic is on Mars, which is really cool because it's a whole nother planet, and I get to look at things that nobody on Earth can look at. You can't go outside and look at a crater because, I mean, there aren't very many on Earth. Craters are formed when a meteorite strikes a planet, and it's one of the most common processes in the entire solar system, but it's poorly understood. So my thesis is mainly focused on the small impact craters, the ones that won't form on Earth because of our atmosphere. I'm going to use the Schiff funds to present my thesis work at a conference in Texas over spring break. It's the Lunar and Planetary Science Conference. It's the biggest conference in the field.
My thesis looks at preschoolers' friendship development, specifically at unilateral friendship. One child says they're friends with another child, but the other child doesn't reciprocate this friendship, and whether there are certain features like children's social competence, their peer acceptance, or the relationship features that will predict these unilateral friendships becoming reciprocated over the school year. I'm passionate about child development because I've always loved working with kids, and from my experience, I've seen just how many amazing changes happen from when they're tiny babies to when they enter school. The Schiff means that I can attend and present at the American Psychological Association conference this summer, taking my thesis work beyond Wellesley and beyond this year in a way that I wouldn't be able to do without the Schiff.
So my thesis is looking at chronic myeloid leukemia drugs. So right now, chronic myeloid leukemia has a lot of drugs on the market, but there are a lot of mutations within the disease that make it resistant to the currently available drugs. And so what we're doing is we're trying to look at why does one drug bind to the mutant form, whereas another drug binds to both the native and the mutant form. I'm really excited to be able to apply the chemistry knowledge I learned in class to actual real life, and knowing that it may have an impact on chronic myeloid leukemia patients one day and the drug development industry. So in past winter sessions, I've always had to work or tutor, but with the Schiff Fellowship, I'm able to stay on campus and get a lot of research done.
So my initial research was to look at the collection, all the different pieces, more the technical aspects of the different textiles, but slowly my research has expanded to think about the initial collector who collected all these textiles and then gave them to Wellesley College back. I was initially drawn to it because of the vestments. I'm a religion art history double major, but when I actually saw all the smaller fragment pieces that are in the boxes, that's what really drew me to it, because there's such a wide range. But the Schiff ones, I've just been doing small trips with them. I've also been doing some archival research. I went to Yale to visit the letters by James Jackson Jars, who's the man who donated all the textiles. So his letters are all at Yale. So I've been able to go and read his original handwriting, what he wrote to his children. One of his daughters was kind of an unruly girl, and he would write all these letters to her about how she needs to value her education. And it's really interesting thinking about how he thought of women and education in the context of his own daughter, because he obviously gave this collection to a women's college.
So my thesis is about the way that female college students at elite liberal arts colleges work to embody and attain this idea of privilege. I study inequality. That's something that, I'm very passionate about. That's something that I feel is, my life calling. View access to higher education as, the be-all end-all of social mobility, when actually there are a lot of processes that happen during college, that might be different according to race or ethnicity or socioeconomic status, or class as it's more commonly understood, that could really either enable or hinder social mobility. And if we don't look at these processes, then we might, unfortunately be reproducing some type of, social inequality. Fortunately, the Schiff funds have enabled me to cut back on my work commitment. I'm very, very grateful that I'm able to commit so much more of my time to my research.